The PlayStation State of Play is finally done and over. And one thing that stood out the most, and us Final Fantasy fans who are looking for hopefully an announcement of Final Fantasy 9 of a remake, we actually got probably one of, and I'll probably say this, one of the best Final Fantasy games to ever release, and by far probably one of the best games of all time. It's definitely on one of those lists for sure. But boys, girls, we finally have a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster on the horizon, and I just want to talk about it. Kind of want to have a little discussion based to kind of like talk a little bit what to expect from Final Fantasy Tactics. This has been a ongoing like rumor. This rumor and leaks was just as bad as Final Fantasy IX's rumors and leaks. Hopefully, Square Enix gods out there, please sometime within these the showcases that are happening this next few days, that we at least get some form of a mention of Final Fantasy IX, because I need that in my life. But first thing I want to talk about when it comes to the overall remaster is the enhanced versus classic versions that you get inside of this game. So the announcement overall confirmed that there will be two versions. There's an enhanced version that basically gives you the updated user interface. You know, you get this high definition graphics. There is some voice acting as well. And then the classic version basically stays completely faithful to the original PlayStation 1 experience. And you also get the War of the Lions translation as well as the autosave. Now, that alone is quite interesting, right? It is interesting. It could be a quite genius move by Square Enix that will cater to both people who've played the game day one. Like for example, with me, I played Final Fantasy Tactics on PlayStation 1, and I as well play the other one that was on the PSP. So those are the two Tactics games that I were able to play. I think I played a little bit of Ogre as well, but I really played Tactics on my PlayStation 1 and PSP. So that can cater to people like me, or it can even cater to new people who have never touched Tactics at all. And that's where the enhanced version kind of comes in play. It also could show that do Square Enix, have a lack of confidence in the enhanced vision, right? Because you got to think about it, they're releasing it together. Most of the time when you look at remasters or remakes in a sense, you don't really get a lot of the classic, right? You don't get the option of either or. So I think Square Enix wanted to kind of play a smarter move when it comes to Final Fantasy Tactics to really see like how people like that type of game nowadays, especially when we're almost 20 plus years after the fact, right? Now, also to think about is, will the classic version truly satisfy those who prefer the original pixel art, or is it overall just a missed opportunity? I feel like it can actually, in my opinion, I feel like it can help out both parties, because this goes back into Square Enix's overall vision, where they announced that they no longer want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on AAA titles. They want to really focus on lowering their budget, spending the money to make these AA or even single A games, because Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster will be launching at $50. So it's not reaching that $70, $80 price tag. It is definitely fighting for that, those mid-range, like either indie games like Expedition 33 or other games very similar to that $50 price tag. Now, hopefully, I think there may be a split in the community on which version to play. What will become the true definitive way to experience Final Fantasy Tactics, or where both versions actually find their niche, where there'll be a lot of people enjoying the enhanced, sometimes maybe even the old heads might be enjoying the enhanced version of it, or you might like, I just wanted the game to be redone again, and just play it through the classic way. So you at least get both options. You can see like a 20 plus year difference between the two. Next is the voice acting. Now, this is a big new feature, is the full voice acting for both English and as well as Japanese, featuring quite a notable cast going into this, right? So Final Fantasy Tactics has always been cherished overall. Like I said, it is the number, like it is any Final Fantasy fan, Final Fantasy Tactics is one of those games that is just up there. There's 7, of course, there's 6, so you got my peeps over there that like 8. There's people like me who really love 9, and then so on and so forth. But when it comes to like the spin-off games and not a mainline title, tactics is always immediate, and sometimes, or more times than not, tactics is actually being put higher than some of the numbered Final Fantasy games out there. And it has to do with the character-driven narrative pushing forward. But I would also want to see how much will the full voice acting enhance or take away from that experience. Will the new voices align with established fan perceptions of the characters? Because we went years just reading text dialogue and trying to get a general sense of what these characters' our emotions are feeling through just reading a text dialogue. So would certain like beloved lines, like, will it be delivered properly? Would it feel good, or will it fall flat? It's a definitely a worry when a game which never had voice acting gets voice acting. And of course, we also got to take note is because this is only in the enhanced version, but is it a necessary modernization to bring the game to a wider audience? Because you got to think, this game was made back in the 90s, right? When at those time periods when it came to JRPGs, there was no voice acting, right? Final Fantasy VII didn't have it. Chrono Trigger definitely didn't have it. Secret of Mana didn't have it. So it's like when you get these games that never received voice acting and all of a sudden they start speaking, you really got to make it be good. You got to really draw people in, because you end up risking losing some of the charm of the originals overall, relying on players' imagination of how characters sound. Now, of course, we got games like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where we spent 20 plus years just, replaying Final Fantasy VII, reliving the story, and then we get Remake, and honestly, they did a great job overall for that game. So definitely can't wait to see what the voice acting has to come for when I check out the enhanced version. So moving forward a little bit on the enhanced version, I also want to chat about what the enhanced version promises to us for $50. So it is, and I will have it on screen as well, but it's a quite overhauled UI. I was reading somewhere that there's a new difficulty option, including an easier Squire difficulty. There's a tactical view, battle speed adjustments, and basically modernizing a strategy turn-based game. A lot of the games nowadays that are remaking these games are modernizing the way turn-based works. You've seen it in Eiyuden Chronicles. I think that was in the remaster of Suikoden 1 and 2. I believe that has something similar. I think Lunar Remastered has something like that, so on and so forth. Like, there's always these adjustments to these games. But Final Fantasy Tactics is known for its sometimes brutal difficulty and intricate systems, but do the quality of life updates and difficulty options just dilute from the overall core challenge, or will it make it a bit more accessible without sacrificing the depth that Tactics has brought forward? And of course, how will the new user interface impact gameplay flow? Will it streamline things in a different positive way, or potentially just oversimplify elements that were part of the original strategic appeal? Because, like I said, once again, Tactics is known for one of the best strategy tactical based RPGs out there, and it can compete with practically anybody for how good it is. So for anybody coming into it and checking out these quality of life updates, overall, is it a good addition, or do you feel like it's dumbing down some of the complexity of Final Fantasy Tactics being a masterpiece, you feel? Next one, of course, you can't make a remake without one of the OGs in it. So we actually get one of the original writers and directors, Yasumi Matsuno, has also commented on the remaster, reiterating that the political themes of inequality and division in the game's story is continued relevance in 2025. Now, overall, it is quite impactful to see that Matsuno's direct involvement and commentary on the themes, and does it overall deepen the appreciation for the game's narrative, because he had quite a few comments. If I could find the article, I could see exactly what he was saying, but I skimmed across it a little bit earlier when I was doing my research for this video. But of course, given the current global events, how do the political and social commentaries of Final Fantasy Tactics resonate with audience today, almost 30 years after its original release? Because good lord, you got to think, with how the world is and these type of games that really focuses on like political things, it really can change like your perspective in a different way. And it was like a nice medium overall. Like, back then it's just like, damn, like your understanding about war and love and hate and revenge, and you learn a lot about these in these games back then. But when the world is in a different place and there's new players coming into your game that are a little bit probably won't understand exactly what's going on, how essentially would the, Matsuno's statement suggest about potential narrative nuances or emphasis in the enhanced version? Just overall, probably doubling down on what you can expect overall for like the overall war. Would the themes be a little bit too touchy for people nowadays? We don't know. We'll have to see when it gets here. And of course, last but not least, is the long-awaited remaster, Square Enix's overall future, and what could it mean for their future, right? Is the hype justified for Final Fantasy Tactics? Overall, for the past few years, there's been many, like I said at the beginning of this video, there's been many rumors and leaks and overall demand for these games. And of course, this announcement finally confirms one of them. We got Final Fantasy Tactics, but man, I swear to God, I need my Final Fantasy 9, because if I don't get 9, I might crash out. But after so many years of anticipation, does the remaster, or will it live up to the overall hype that it was announced features? Do you feel like they're missing any elements that we're hoping for? Do you think that it's a little bit too much? But what does the remaster signify for Square Enix's strategy with its classic RPGs? Could this open the door for remasters or remakes of other beloved titles like Vagrant Story? Or maybe if finally we get that Chrono Trigger remake that was a little bit leaked but not leaked, or we may get a Xenogears remaster. How does Final Fantasy Tactics, the Chronicles, Evalechi Chronicles, fit into the broader landscape of Square Enix's recent remasters and remakes? Does it build on the successes or learn from the criticisms of previous efforts? So I actually want to know what your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section below. Are you excited for Final Fantasy Tactics? Did you play it on PlayStation? Did you play it on PSP or when it was on Nintendo DS? Like, which one is your favorite Tactics game? Or do you like Ogre? Any of those, let me know. Love to hear you guys' thoughts about it. Make sure to also like the video, subscribe to the channel for more discussions, reviews, and as well as impressions. As always, I want you to stay safe out there. It's been your host, Chaos TV, signing out. Peace.